Hello viewers and welcome back to Sahara TV. On our show today we've been discussing the Nigerian anti-gay bill which was just signed into law recently by President Jonathan. To continue our discussion, with me on the line today is Yemisi from London. She is an LGBT activist, lawyer and an author, and she's with me here to discuss what's next for LGBT activists in Nigeria and some of her thoughts on the recent passage of this bill into law. Thank you, Yemisi, for joining us here on Sahara TV.
You're welcome.
So the first thing, earlier today, we actually spoke with Senator Domingo Bende, who was the senator who brought the bill to the Senate floor and actually has supported it into law. And I thought that we would start by, I would tell you some of his comments and get your thoughts on them and give you a chance to address them. So some of the things, and what's key here also is it seems to be reflected by some of the thoughts of people within Nigeria as well. He stated some things like the fact that the Western world must understand that we are a sovereign nation and they must not interfere with our rights to pass laws and govern our country. He also stated that we are Africans, that's what makes us unique. There is a need to preserve this moral behavior, as well as I'm elated for once we have a culture and tradition that is going to be preserved. There's numerous individuals that have been reflecting this idea, and I wanted to get your take on it, that, you know, prohibiting same-sex marriage and now this new law is in fact protecting tradition or preserving tradition and culture within Africa and specifically Nigeria. What is your take on that thought?
First and foremost, there is this misconception that homosexuality or gay rights is all about the Western thing. It is not a cultural thing because it is a sexual orientation, which makes it part of the culture, which makes it part of every human being. Every human being is born with a sexual orientation, so it's not as if something you have acquired via culture. So it has been with us. It will always be with us. It will be wherever they have human beings who are born with sexual with the sexual orientation as homosexual, who are born as homosexuals or bisexuals or even as asexuals. So people should really get educated. It is not about culture. And another thing, culture is very dynamic. Even if it were about culture, which it is not, culture is very dynamic and it's fluid. It changes with time. We are all creators of culture, and I don't see what they are trying to preserve. What is it you are preserving? When you're talking about marriage in Nigeria, we've had different types of marriages. People go for monogamy now. Well, they favor monogamy more than polygamy, and that's a lifestyle. It's not even about sexual orientation. So we have history in our African culture. And when you talk about African culture, remember that we have Africa is it's not a monolithic society. We have many societies in Africa with different cultures and evidence, history. If we read our history beyond what was taught us in missionary schools, if we read our history, we will find out that our forefathers, our ancestors, have been engaging in same-sex relationship for long. We have the case of, even in Uganda, the Bugunda royal family, even in Calabar, we have history of same-sex marriages alongside cultural line. And even with people who have never even met a white man before or step foot on any white shore, who are in remote villages, are born with, they are born with this sexual orientation. They are attracted to same-sex people. So it is not about culture. It is about what people are born with. If I am born left-handed and in your culture you feel being left-handed, being left-handed is wrong, it doesn't stop the fact that I am born with left-handed. The same thing with people who are born as albinos or people who you know, even the color of your eye. So it is something we are born with. It's got nothing to do with culture. But if you want to talk about culture, well, you should ask me, what is it that is harmful about two people loving themselves? Is it just because they are of the same sex? Love, in whatever case, always triumph hate. So far, they are not, going to infringe on the human rights of people. That culture is just null and void if you cannot maintain such things. Things people are talking about culture, like Senator Domingo Bede, I should ask him what all the things he does now, even using Facebook or even the ties and the shirts he wears. Are they part of African culture? Why is it comfortable to wear those things? But it's happy to do some white Western things, but now people cannot love themselves. So it is not part of culture. It is our culture to
Hi, sorry viewers, it seems that the connection with Yemisi is a bit poor. We're going to try to get her back on the line. In the meantime, though, as she was saying, she doesn't believe that, in fact, the prohibition of same-sex marriage is, the culture that is in Africa. In fact, she was stating that, traditionally there have been same-sex marriages and that culture within Africa. And so hopefully we'll be able to get her back on the line. We have a lot more to discuss. She was just...
Hello, I'm back on the line.
Hello, Yemisi. Okay, great. We have you back. So yeah, please continue what you were saying.
Okay. So I was saying that even if they want to come from the angle of culture, there are so many things that people like Senator Domingo Bede are doing today that was not part of African culture. When you talk about even the food he eats, the champagne he drinks, the suits he wears, the Facebook he uses are not part of African culture. So why is it now that it is two people that are loving themselves that is giving people headache? And there are so many things that were part of our culture that we have done away with. When we talk about female genital mutilation, those were part of some African cultures, even in Nigeria there. But we have made laws to abrogate such practices. Now when we talk about child marriage or forced marriages or arranged marriages, those were once part of our culture, but we have made laws to abrogate such things. And when we also talk about women not being able to inherit landed properties, we know this is very much part of our African culture. In some societies, women were not able to, but we have made laws to abrogate such cultures. So when people are talking there, so they want to hold on to culture, I laugh, because even those people that are talking about this culture, they have people that are imbibing in foreign religion. Most of them are Christians, they are Muslims. Christianity is not part of African culture. Islam was never part of African culture until recently. So if you're talking about wanting to hold on to culture, you cannot cherry pick what type of culture you want to hold on to. The thing is, they should get the first thing they should get right is that sexual orientation includes homosexuality, bisexuality, heterosexuality, asexuality. So those are scientific facts. It has nothing to do with your culture. It is with the way people are born with. It's something people are born with. We are born like that. So you cannot change that. You cannot change the fact that some people are albinos, whether you like them or not, whether it's part of your culture. You cannot change the fact that some people are born left-handed. You cannot change the fact that some people are black or that some people have brown eye colors. That is the way sexual orientation is. If only people would just get themselves educated and move beyond that bias, that prejudice against two people who love themselves and want to stay together, whose relationship are not harming anybody. Homosexuals are not harming people with their love. They are consensual adults. So we should not bring the issue of culture into it. And the argument of culture, like I said, is even non-avoid. We are all creators of culture. So it is not like it's a Western thing. And remember, one thing we should remember is that the first law that was used to criminalize same-sex relationship was imported by Britain, the colonial masters then. They brought the sodomy law into Africa. They brought it into Nigeria. They imported it. It was not our law. But you must ask yourself, will your colonial masters felt the need to introduce a law banning or criminalizing same-sex relationship if your forefathers were not running around and having same-sex love? So they saw it where they came. They saw it in our society. Then they felt in their religious and Christian missionary holier than that attitude that they should come and criminalize those people that are having same-sex relationship. That was why they imported the law. So the law is not even our African law. It's an imported law. It's a colonial legacy. It's a colonial relic that even Britain that introduced it to Africa and to its former colonies, Britain they've repealed those laws in their own country. Why do we now behave as if sodomy law is our own homegrown law? Those are colonial legacy. They're not in our culture. We should do away with such laws. I think that should be the argument. We should do away with sodomy laws. We should not be trying to strengthen a law that was imposed on our forefathers because some white people then thought, oh, well, same-sex loving was rampant. Go to the Kaduna area in Nigeria. We have history of men sleeping with men, homosexuals, who have never even met white men before in their life, who don't even own channels, who don't even own satellite TV or cable TV to know what is happening in Western world. They are born that way. So why do you suddenly want to criminalize them? Go to remote villages. Go to Nigeria there that people who don't even have access to Facebook. That will not stop them. They don't have access to social media, but they know that they grew up and there's something in them that's attracted to same-sex person. There's nothing wrong, because they are not harming anybody. So I don't see why people should make it their business who another adult is sleeping with or having an emotional relationship with. I think it's just ridiculous that people will bother themselves with such things with all the problems in Nigeria. This is nobody's problem. Two people who want to love should be allowed to love themselves. Love is always better than hate, any day, anytime.
So thank you for that. Just your thoughts then on, well, one, the law had originated in 2006, and you spoke right now of, you know, a longer tradition of homosexuality existing in Nigeria and in Africa. What do you then perceive as the motivation now? I mean, there's been some talk that it's kind of a political ploy by the government, or, I mean, do you feel that that's what it is, or do you feel that this was just something kind of coming down the line? And the reason I state that is back here in America, like now, some states, you know, there was a trend against gay marriage back in the 90s with the passage of the Defense of Marriage Act and numerous other prohibitions within states. But now we've seen a repeal of the Defense of Marriage Act and same-sex marriage being allowed. So do you feel that this is a similar trend going through Nigeria, or do you feel there's different motivations at work?
I think when this law was first introduced, that was around 2007, then again 2009, I think it's just some lawmakers trying to use vulnerable people as scapegoats to cover the fact that they are not working, that they are not doing what the people really want. They are not providing the basic amenities that people need. So they look for some vulnerable group that they could oppressed to appeal to the masses. They know that Nigerians are not informed enough about homosexuality, and they just use this angle to use homosexuals, bisexuals, and people of sexual minorities. They use them as scapegoats to divert attention from their failure as lawmakers, as politicians, for the failure in the governmental policies. So that was one reason then. And yes, with the recent gay rights and LGBT rights that are gaining grounds in Western countries, you'll find out that Nigerians always want to join on a bandwagon to just show that, oh, we are also there. This is also in the wrong way, always in the wrong way, because you see people making progress, giving people, granting their citizens equal rights, saying no discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. Then you just jump up with all the problems, with all the laws that you need to sign. The child rights law is there that people are still resisting. You have the domestic violence law, the freedom of information law. You have so many important laws that are important to the country, bills that are waiting. But you just decided that, oh, this bill must be given priority. This bill of two people loving themselves, we must criminalize them and put them in prison. And that is so wrong. So it's just out of priority. I think it's just them trying to appeal to the people to say, oh, we are doing something. And I think Nigeria should not fall for this. I mean, how does criminalizing two adults, two consensual adults who are in a relationship, a consensual relationship, how does criminalizing them affect your life? What how does it improve the society? What harm have they done to the society in the first place? Are they the ones not giving you good roads? Are they the ones not giving you good access to health care? Are the gays the ones not providing electricity for you? Are we the ones killing businesses in Nigeria? I think that is so sad that Nigeria should jubilate that their lawmakers are wasting time criminalizing same-sex relationship. And the bill says prohibition of same-sex marriage. But you should ask yourself, the bill is not just about marriage. It is about criminalizing freedom of information, freedom of association, freedom of expression. It even criminalizes freedom of thought. That even if you are gathered, whether you're same-sex or not, you are gathered in a room and you want to talk about LGBT rights, that becomes a crime.
Yeah.
Since when are Nigerians that complacent? I mean, we fought the military out because they wouldn't give us access to freedom of expression. But suddenly we are allowing a democracy to criminalize us, to even say that this is not just applying to gays now. This is not about marriage. This law is telling you that you cannot, whether you are gay or a gay supporter or you are anti-gay or whatever, you cannot gather in a room and hold a meeting to promote LGBT rights, to talk about freedom to even talk about this. This is beyond ridiculous. This is pathetic. This is freedom of expression taken away. This is a basic human right and a basic tenet of democracy. So they're not just criminalizing gays, they're criminalizing everybody. And they're criminalizing every Nigerian. And for all the human rights activists there that are keeping quiet, I laugh because when the time comes, when any opposing political party or a vocal human rights activist is there, they are going to use this law to clamp down on many people. They are going to, once you are holding your meeting, maybe you are opposing the government or whatever, the next thing they will tell you is, oh, you are discussing LGBT rights. The next thing they will tell you is, we saw an LGBT pamphlet in your office. Now you have to come to court and face a 10 years imprisonment. So It is about freedom, democracy for all. It is not just about marriage. Even, the gays in Nigeria are not even for now asking for marriage. They are just even trying to survive. They are trying not to be stoned to death on the streets of Lagos or Abuja or Calabar or Imo State. They are trying to live, to survive every day. Totally, somebody just comes and say, we are going to drag you, we are going to give more reason for people to stone you on the street. We are going to give more reason for people to blackmail you. We are going to give more reason. You can even blackmail anybody with the law. I mean, is it in Nigeria where you have 2 or 3 people of same sex sharing a room because they cannot afford to buy to rent on their own? Then your landlord one day will just come up, maybe because he has been hiring you and you have refused to eat to his advances.
And try to accuse the 3 people of now having some sort of homosexual relationship. I mean, it's definitely gone a lot farther than just supposedly the prohibition. And like you mentioned before, I mean, and we heard earlier from Yemisi Ilesanmi and Ifeanyi Orzulike that as far as they were concerned, the organizations that gays in Nigeria had not really been advocating for marriage. So it seemed to be kind of like overkill almost from the government to point out that there was such a need to have such a widespread prohibition and the fact. But the reason actually, sorry, just 1 minute. The reason I actually interrupted is it seems we have a number of Skype callers wishing to join and expand our discussion. So we're just going to take, I think, a quick break, get them on board, and definitely we will be right back. And thank you so much.
Thank you.